Ya ahla sahla fikum, or hello and welcome to the Bedouin's Coffee Corner, where we discuss initiatives, progressive movements, and change makers in the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are here with the one and only Aya. But before we get started, I need to welcome you the Bedouin's Coffee Corner way. So I usually pour my guests a virtual cup of coffee
Oh, thank you.
because it is the Bedouin's Coffee Corner, and I'm gonna virtually give it to you. And this way I can say, Hayaki Allah, welcome to the Bedouin's Coffee Corner. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. I spent 10 minutes fangirling before this, you guys.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be doing this with you, and I think it's going to be a great one.
Thank you so much, Aya. So, for our listeners, because we do have a diverse group of people, can you kindly introduce yourself to them?
Sure. So my name's Aya Barqawi, and it's kind of the hardest thing to explain what I do to people because I do a million different things at once. I'm in the creative and media field. I studied design and visual communication at university, and then once I graduated, I never felt like I belonged in a specific criteria, like photography or fashion or branding, graphic design. I loved it all, so I thought, you don't have to pick. Let's just try to do it all. And I mean, there are definitely pros and cons to that, and sometimes you spread yourself way too thin. But I enjoy it, and I don't think I'd have it any other way because I still get to do everything that I like, and I don't feel like I'm restricted to one thing. So I do photography, I'm a photographer, I'm a content creator on social media, and then I have my branding clients in graphic design. I do like social media consultations. I have my own fashion line, so it's a number of things at the same time. But like I don't think I'd have it any other way.
Aya, you're literally superwoman with all the things that you do. um,
Oh, stop! Thank you.
so you're a content creator, a creative, a photographer, a stylist, a fashion designer, and as you said, the list goes on and on and on. How do you really manage it all?
I think I don't know if I manage it. Honestly, I think I sometimes I burn out. Sometimes like I need to figure out my way around it properly. I think I do a pretty good job of doing that, but sometimes, as I said, like it gets to me, and sometimes it gets too much, and I feel like I have to prioritize and be picky with what I want, and that's the only way like I can keep my sanity. So I end up choosing the projects that I want most and the projects that I feel most passionate about, and I prioritize. But I don't think I was ever at a point where I really did everything at once because, or maybe that was when I launched my fashion brand. I used to do everything at once, but then I knew like one of these things had to take a back seat. Not cut it off forever, obviously, but just like pick and choose at every certain period of time what I'll be doing, and just like manage my time better. I need to work on my time management, but you need to manage your time and prioritize what
Yeah.
matters most, what you think you want to do first.
For sure. I think that's like with everything, right? Like time management is really the key to it. But while you're trying to keep your sanity, you're allowing us to keep our sanity. So,
Oh, this is so sweet.
Tell me a little bit about what it's like being an Arab woman who's a hijabi and an entrepreneur. Like those, being a woman, I feel like you already have to work twice as hard as sometimes your male peers to prove yourself in your space. So, what it's like? What is it like to being an Arab woman who is a hijabi?
I mean, it definitely comes with its like limitations and its preconceived notions and prejudice and judgment and all the above. And it's difficult. Like I can't lie and say I've never thought about like how different things would be maybe if I wasn't a hijabi, or if I wasn't living in the Middle East, or how much more would I have grown. Um, but also at the same time, that's like a part of my, it's not even a part, it is my identity and it is who I am. So it's definitely not easy, but then I feel like it's all I've known, so it's fine for me. It's not like I ever started being in media as non-hijabi and then like switched to a hijabi, and then so I can see the major difference. I haven't experienced that, so I feel like this, like the challenges and everything that comes with it, is all that I've known since I've been in the field. So I can't compare it to anything else. But I mean, it definitely comes with its own set of challenges. But I try not to take what I do so seriously, as in, not as in I don't take what I do so seriously, but as in it's not my entire life. And there's much more to life than that. And that's how like I deal with it, by just like minimizing it and looking at the bigger picture, and thinking that it's fine. You don't get something, you get something better. Or even if you don't, it's fine. Like, this is not what life's about. Like, this is career. This
Yeah.
is something that you love, and this is a part of your life, but it's not your entire life. And I feel like that's how I deal with it.
That's really inspiring. You inspire so many across the board, but you're also such an advocate for hijabis to stick to their beliefs and not change for anyone. I was telling you before we started
Yeah.
recording that the day I started wearing hijab, you put out this video about how you shouldn't have to compromise who you are for what you want to do. And so, what has that been like, impacting women in such a positive way and making them feel so comfortable being unapologetically themselves?
I mean, it never fails to just like make my day. Like when you told me, I think you saw, like I was so happy and I was so glad, because like in my head, I'm just making these videos out of my studio or out of my bedroom, and I'm like, yes, like people see them, but I don't think it registers that people actually see them until someone actually comes up to me and is like, "Yeah, I watched your video," and I'm like, "Oh my god, you actually watched my video? What?" But it's a funny thing with social media, is that like I know there are people behind the screen watching my content, but at the same time I really don't, like, because it's just digital and virtual. But like when someone comes and tells me, I feel like this just gives me purpose. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have been doing what I am doing right now. I feel like I have like just growing and maturing as a person. I realize the cons, let's say, of social media, and how overwhelming it can be and how negative it can be at times. And I think if it wasn't for my community of girls and for the people who actually believe in me, or feel or like find my content inspiring or motivational, or because I get so many messages of people telling me like, I saved this video and every time I feel weak, I watch it again, and I still to this day get comments about videos that I posted years ago. And this gives me purpose, and I don't think I'd be doing what I do with, if this wasn't the case, and if girls weren't finding it helpful, and if I didn't feel like I was actually making a difference. It just makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I'm actually doing something that may help someone, and that just makes me happy.
Aya, you're doing a lot and you do make other people happy through your content.
Thank you,
So
honestly.
please keep going. But something that I have had in the back of my head since I started following you is, I see your page and I feel like I would really do anything to see what goes on in your brain, because your page is just so creative, between your studio, the photography, the styling, the videos you create. It's insane. Like your most recent one with the frame and then the bottom was changing. Like that was so cool. So walk me through your creative process.
My creative process is basically, I try to give myself as much visual content as I can, like on the daily. So I would go like on Instagram, on Pinterest, and sometimes I would even like create boards, random boards for like projects that are non-existent, and I would just like keep preferences in case like I'd want to use them next time, or in case I want to come back to them for inspiration. And so that's, I feel like, what I do, and I try to get inspired from literally everything around me. That being said, every time I get a new project, my thought process is let's do something that has never been done before, or that might have been done, but like it isn't mainstream, or people haven't seen it too much. I wouldn't want to do something that people have seen too. And I feel like that's the wow factor, or that's why people feel like, oh wow, like we love your content, because like we it's refreshing to see something different on the feed. Um, so that's basically what goes on in my head, is that I want to do something that is not cliche, or I try at least to do something that is not cliche. And I try to create content of my own and just come out with my own ideas, my own mood boards, and my own visuals. And I hope I'm successful at doing that. And I feel like people enjoy it. And so that's like my thought process when it comes to these things.
I mean, you're definitely doing something right because, it's very apparent that we all enjoy your content. Like, it's not بدون مجاملة. Like, seriously, people love your content. I've never spoken to someone who has seen your content and been like, that's not interesting. Like, I was even telling some of my friends I'm recording with you, and,
Oh,
yeah, and some of them weren't familiar with your page. So I shared your Instagram. And they're like, wow, she's so cool. Like, why haven't we been following her? That's so cool. Like your content is awesome.
oh, that is so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. What has been your biggest challenge in making it where you are while being authentically yourself and not conforming to any pressures to alter yourself? Because, like you said earlier, like sometimes you think of what it would have been like had you not been a hijabi, right? Like all these different factors. And social media
Yeah.
comes with a lot of pressure. So, what has been your biggest challenge in that?
Not only that, it's not just that social media comes with a lot of pressure, it's just that the media world in general, like social media, TV, what have you, um, it just like I've come across so many misogynists, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate to say that. I'm not trying to put anyone under the bus, but like the things that come out of men's mouths is just insane. Like the fact that their brain told them it was okay for that to escape. I feel like that is why um, I left some stuff behind, or big, like I used to work in TV. Um, and that is why I stopped. Like I was a host for about a year on a daily show, or an almost daily show. It used to be 4 days a week, I think. And it was just getting too much. And I think at first, like you're too stunned, like the woman was too stunned to
Yeah.
speak. You're too stunned, and you don't fully process the weight of the things that they're saying. So you just like brush it off, and you're like, oh, it's okay, or oh, they probably didn't mean it, or I don't know why I feel bad. You know what I mean? That's what I used to tell myself. Like I don't know why I feel bad. And then like later on, as
Yeah.
like the month went by, I was like, no, I know why I feel bad, because it's inappropriate. So yeah, that's what I like face the most, especially like in this like media industry, are misogynists, or like people who don't think projects would go as well if the girl was a hijabi, because like
Yeah.
she's not attractive enough, or she won't just get enough eyes on the campaign or on the project, or whatever. um but yeah, and the way I dealt with it was honestly, um, I developed a certain outlook on life that is like it's only temporary at the end of the day. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just spend the few years I have left on this earth doing what I like, and I don't really care who else like accepts it. But like, it's all gonna end eventually, and we're all gonna go to the same place. So I don't really care.
Yeah. That being said, I'm really interested to know like what your biggest fear is.
My biggest fear.
Yeah.
But career wise, no, my biggest fear in life is like losing the people that I love. Um, that just like scares me, because I'm huge on like support systems, and on family, and on friends. I have a very small, tight knit group of friends, and I don't have like the biggest circle. And so, like, when I invest in relationships, or when I invest in someone, I do invest like wholeheartedly and I give it my all. And so I get too invested in my, not too invested. I think it's nice. Like the people I have are like brothers and sisters to me. Um, and so that is like what scares me the most, I think, is losing people that I love. Yeah.
What's your number one piece of advice to someone who wants to get into the creative space but is scared to because there are already so many creatives to begin with right now?
Um, I think just like grow thick skin, because the nature of this industry is like very subjective and people have their own opinions because it is a creative industry. It's not ones and zeros, and it's not you're doing something right or you're doing something wrong. So people are going to have opinions about the work, the kind of work that you're going to do, and they're going to have opinions about you if you choose to get involved in like social media, because it's you, it's your character that's on show and on display. Um, it's just gonna have to grow thick skin, because I had to learn that the hard way, and I let things get to me too many times, and I took things personally too many times. But you just need to know that it's not personal, and that everyone's gonna have different opinions about you, and that even if you try to do something good, some people won't see it as good. Like I got like even for the real talk videos that I do, or like when I talked about hijab, you would think that I wouldn't get hate, but I also got hate for those, and people were picking apart me as a person and if I was doing hijab right or if I was doing it wrong. Like they go into these very personal details that no one has a right to go into. But I mean, it is what it is. So you just got to know that before you get into it. Like, I know they don't have a right to judge you, or I know they don't have a right to pick you apart, and I know they
Yeah.
don't have a right to comment on certain things that they shouldn't comment on. But, like, also at the same time, like, it is what it is. You either do it or you don't. And I know it gets, like, very taxing and sometimes it takes a toll on you, but you just got to know that, like, that's the game. And you have to detach yourself from it. Personally. That's why I step away from social media so many times, just because sometimes I need my space. And ground yourself with people uh, around you that love you truly and support you truly, because then once you like turn off your phone, you know you've got that. You know you've got that real support system to back you up.
Yeah, I think support systems are almost everything, right? Because I feel like online is just sometimes so overwhelming that, like, as long as you have people in your real life that you know you can rely on, it makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah, and but I think like some people, like it's easier said than done, because some people get sucked into that world way too easily, and they leave people behind that actually truly care about them, for people like in the field who might not really care about them as much, just for like clout or for followers or for likes. And it's unfortunate because these people would drop you like that, but the people who truly, truly love you and care about you will be there by your side no matter what. And so I just feel like keep those people that ground you. Don't let them go, because I mean, life gets busy when you're on social media because it's a 24/7 thing, but just keep the people around you that truly, truly love you. And that's like my biggest piece of advice.
I love that. How do you think the creative space in the Middle East and more specifically in Amman has shifted since you first started?
Um, I think it majorly shifted because I first started in 2016 and I wasn't even in Amman. I was in Germany at the time. Um, and then when I came back, that was when I got a bit more into it. So I started in 2016, and then when I got back in 2017, I got a bit more into it. And I feel like when I first started, there weren't that many people doing it. Like there were people doing it, but there weren't that many people doing it, as many as they are today. And there weren't as many campaigns. It wasn't like a career. People weren't being managed. At least like in Jordan, we didn't have like social media managers. We didn't have people to like handle your campaigns for you. I think it opened up the door for like career opportunities. People are hiring assistants. Like it's an actual job now, as opposed to what it was when I first started, which was just people doing it for fun and, sometimes to make an income out of it, but it wasn't that big here. I realized obviously in 2017 it was huge like everywhere else, but our creative scene has not been huge. I don't think it still is. It's definitely developing. And I feel like maybe the one thing we're lacking is just like coming together. We have a lot of people doing a lot of things on their own, and they're really good, and they're creating great content. And I'm not just talking about like influencers, I'm talking about photographers, graphic designers, illustrators, product designers, like people who make stuff. I feel like if we can see like more collaborative efforts or more people doing things together and just like mushing up their brains together and coming up with something real nice, we have so much potential, and I feel like that's what's missing right now, and that's what we need to work on. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely going in the right direction. It's definitely slower than everywhere else, because I feel like, for example, not even like Europe or the US, I'm talking GCC. It's much bigger, and it's heavyweight campaigns. It's actual brands that are like higher end, that are investing into these campaigns and into influencers that are in those countries. So within the Middle East, I don't think Jordan is a benchmark. I don't think it's the strongest, but definitely GCC region, very strong. I think even maybe stronger than Europe and the US, because like there's so much money that goes into those campaigns, and we're seeing Middle Easterns do international campaigns as well with like international name brands, and I think that's nice to see.
Yeah, that's so great. I totally agree with you. I feel like, so I live in the Gulf, and so I see it all around me as like how it's a business, between like influencers, creatives, right? Like all these different categories. So I feel you. I feel like in Jordan we're a little bit behind, but I do feel like slowly it's like opening up a little bit more, and like the creative scene is getting a little bit better. But what's your, that being said, your page, I feel like, covers a lot of different aspects and a lot of different parts of your life. But you are a designer, and you are awesome at mixing and matching pieces and giving people that kind of advice. What's your number one piece of fashion advice?
What's my number one? If Okay, my number one piece of fashion advice is to try not to follow trends as much. There are so many that I actually spent money on and that I bought because they were trending, and then I realized they're not really my style, and I never wore them, and they were brand new, and I just like donated them. And so I feel like don't give in to trends. I know it's really hard when you keep seeing it in front of your face 24/7, and that's how people are smart, and that's how marketing campaigns go. They just literally blast their products and give them to all the influencers in the world, and then you end up seeing it 10 times a day, for a month, and then you end up wanting it so bad because you've seen it so much. But my piece of advice is let that phase pass. Like, watch yourself a few months or even like a year after that trend has hit. If it still looks good to you and if you feel like it's a timeless piece, then go for it. But most of the times you just get over it. Like, most of the times I want something so bad and then I wait it out for a bit, like a couple months, and then I'm over it and I don't feel like having it anymore. And that's how it normally is with trends. The minute it dies down and the minute you stop seeing it, you don't want it anymore. As opposed to like more classic pieces that I feel like even years after I still want, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go splurge on that, or I'm gonna go get that, because I'm talking like high end designer items. But even like if you're buying high street, I wouldn't buy something that is trend based, because I don't think you're gonna wear it as much unless it really matches your style and you feel like I would get a lot of use out of it. Then definitely go for it. But other than that, I don't think like give in to trends and just work on figuring out your personal style. And what I do when I go shop is if I'm buying something, it has to work with my pre-existing wardrobe. If it doesn't, if I have to really squeeze my mind about how I'm going to style it or how I'm going to wear it, I most probably won't get it, because I'm not going to build an entire wardrobe around this one new piece of clothing. So if it doesn't go with what I already have, I never go for it.
That's great advice. I have an issue with like buying items that I feel like I'll wear, but then I never actually wear. So I'll definitely take that into consideration the next time I go shopping. What's a daily ritual that you have where like you can't go a day without doing it?
Skincare, my skincare routine. It could be like 3 a.m. and I'm dead and I just want to go to bed and I can't bring myself to go to bed without going through my, I don't like step skincare routine. I have to. I just don't think I like my skin thanks me for it, obviously. And I can tell a difference if I skip my skincare routine for like a day or two. I can already tell a difference with the quality of my skin, the texture, and everything. So I think my skincare routine is one thing that I can never not do. And I think my skincare routine is the one thing I've actually been consistent with for the past 5 years. As even like everything can change in my life, but my skincare routine stays the same. Like I have to.
Yeah. What's next for Aya? Like you have your studio, which is so, mashallah, gorgeously done. You have your photography, the styling, the fashion line, which, by the way, obsessed. I really loved the sleeves that you did, and now the like chic hoodie that you made is so gorgeous. So, what's next for you?
I okay. This is an exclusive. I don't think I've ever talked about this on social or anywhere
Wow.
else. My friends don't know this, but I am working on my podcast. And I am turning my real talks into a podcast basically that should release very soon. So I'm excited about that. And that is what is next. I feel like that is what I'm putting my efforts towards right
I love that. That's so exciting. I can't
now.
wait to be able to like oh my god. I love your real talks. So like this is so awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm
Oh my
excited for
god.
everyone to hear it.
I'm so glad. That's so amazing. I honestly like you could talk for I feel like you have so much like wisdom and again, happy belated birthday because yesterday was your birthday. Yesterday? Yes.
Yeah.
Or the day before. Yes.
Yeah. It was
So
before. It was on the 9th of March. Yeah.
yeah. So you turned 27, but you have so much to teach us all. Like, I'm so excited for this podcast.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. I'm excited for it. I feel like it was the natural next step because, like, I talk a lot on IGTV, and I'm like, what if people just want to listen to it and not watch videos? And I thought I'd make it available in both like video and audio formats. So the podcast will be available in video and audio, and I'm excited for people to listen to it because it's been a long time coming. Like people are missing the real talks now because the only reason I'm not doing them as much is because I'm saving them for the podcast. So I'm excited for people to listen to it.
I'm so excited for that to come out. And thank you for letting me know. That like gives me something to look forward to.
Oh, stop. Oh my God. Can we do this every day?
Oh my god, I wish. You're more than welcome anytime you want. Just like come on over. um Our last question for you today, Aya. So I put the question box, and I swear to God, my phone shut down. Like you shut my phone down,
Oh my
because
God. Stop.
I swear I've never had people like. Usually, I get like a couple, but like you put it on your story, and you told people to come ask me questions, and my Instagram lagged. My phone turned off. Like people left you literally hundreds of questions, and
No way. Oh my
yes.
God.
And I had to sit there like filtering through them because I was like, I cannot keep the woman here for like 3 days answering these.
We'll
So,
do a part two.
so the question that I found, I feel like will be very wholesome. What did you learn this year that you wish you knew when you first started? Love you, Aya.
Oh, I love Dana. She's an amazing artist. What have I learned this year that I wish I had known? That it's okay to let go of things and people that don't serve you. Like you don't owe it to them to like keep yourself in their lives if they don't want you there or if they're like toxic. And I feel like I don't know, like my brain was programmed in a way that like you feel bad if you uh, cut someone off or if you stop talking to someone or if you do what's best for you essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, coming from a people pleaser, and I consider myself a recovered people pleaser. I don't do it as much right now, but it still felt weird to me to just like let people go out of my life. And I feel like this year I've just learned to prioritize myself, and I wish I did that earlier. Just like to prioritize myself in everything, um, and like as long as I'm not hurting anyone, just like do what's best for me, and for my mental health, and just like set healthy boundaries. That's what I feel like has served me so much this year, and just appreciate myself more. I never gave myself credit, and I always like in any situation that happened, I would find ways to put myself at fault or like
Mm-hmm.
uh, see what I've done wrong, and never the other person or never like the other thing in the situation. But I feel like what I've learned was to like really just give myself some credit and really love myself a bit more and just like do what's best for me and realize that it's not always your fault, that people can be it wrong, and that it's okay for you to cut people who don't serve you out of your life. It's actually liberating. It feels really good. I'm not I'm not urging people to just start cutting people out of their lives, but if you feel like someone doesn't serve you or isn't happy for your successes or just makes you feel bad, you don't need them. And I
Yeah.
don't care how long you've known them, it is okay to just let them go. Like no hate, no grudges, no resentment, no nothing, but just like let them go with peace. Like let them go. And yeah, that has served me so much. I feel.
I love that because I feel like a lot of us to a certain extent can be people pleasers, and again like the fear of like letting people go that have been around for a long time, but as you said, like sometimes you really need to like reassess the value because you can't just keep giving, right? Like you it needs to be mutual, I feel like. So I think that's a great piece of advice, truly.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like yeah, as you said, you just can't keep giving. It needs to be reciprocated, and if it isn't, it just gets so draining. And I've been there where I'm completely 100% drained. And then you feel very disappointed and let down because you're like, but I gave you all that and it was not appreciated. And you take
Yeah.
it to heart, but that's it. Like, that's it. You know, that person is showing you true colors and that person is showing you where you sit on their priority list. Don't feel bad about it, but know how to act and know how to react to situations like this. I wouldn't go um, trying to make people realize my worth or like, why are you doing that, or why aren't you seeing my worth, or why aren't you seeing that like a friendship or a relationship with me is a good thing and it's worth so much, and I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you that I'm worth it, so yeah, I'll just let you go. And I feel like that's the mistake that most people do. They go and they try to talk it, like you can definitely talk it out and try to figure out what's wrong. But if there isn't anything wrong, and most probably there isn't, and that is just like people and how they go about life, it's okay to let them go. You don't have to convince them that you're worth it and that you're worth being a part of their life. If they don't see it, move on.
Yeah, for sure. I totally feel that, and I think that's great advice. Those were all my questions for you today, Aya. Thank you so much for coming on.